Hey everybody, it's Kemo here, here to give you an update here on the daily chart of Bitcoin. And is it bullish? Is it bearish? I've been seeing many analysts try to analyze this wave structure and what's going on, and I'm labeling this video the Crazy Eights because of how price action was acting back in May. How you started here at 74,000. You went up to 84,000, chopped around, went to 94,000, chopped around, 104,000, chopped around, and ultimately did not make that 114 target, fell shy of it just a little bit. Well, check the price action around that 108 area, which was the previous all-time high from back, before, and people are getting tired of this 108, similar to how people were getting tired of this 84. Like we felt like we were there for so long, I guess some people were saying, but that's really not that many days. Was that a week? Bounced up another week, bounced up another week. So I'm kind of anticipating this pattern to play out, but going from the low here being 98, stuck in the range of 108. Now we're going to be stuck in 118. And from 118, next target would be somewhere around the 128. 128 chop around and pop back up. So let's draw out what that could potentially look like. All right, drawing this out, this just stands out very readily. Just an ABC, just like everybody sees it, three-wave pullback or some kind of formation. Well, the way that I look at it, this can be the center of the wave structure. It also can be a distribution, and this is just an upthrust after distribution before going down. I'm open to that idea. Totally fine. But the wave structure here on the daily, what I'm looking at, this being potentially the median, and this pop-up matches that pop-up, and then sideways, sideways, popping up, popping up. So I'm kind of expecting a target of roughly 121 on this to match that leg. And from there, you should have this pullback here and chop around, a little pullback potentially to 115 area, and pop back up and chop around for a while before repeating A, B, C, little A, B, C. Target being 147, conservatively 144, but this would be a very nice pattern. I think I said this in my last video that this is high probability for me. Whether or not it plays out, we'll see, but that's kind of what I'm playing for now. So expecting a pop up to 121, retrace back to 115, and then continuation push, and we'll pause at the eights, at the crazy eights. So easy to remember. You got your eights, you got your eights, you'll have your eights up there and your eights up there. So just mimicking this pattern, instead of 4, pausing at every 4, we'll pause at every 8. And I'd say that's valid as long as you maintain an uptrend. Just keep the trend going up. I don't want to see any closures making a lower low, or like say a consolidation, swing failure pattern and close below, stay below, and then continue down. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see lower lows, lower highs happening here. I want to see this trend maintain itself with higher highs and higher lows. Keep pushing up, just like this did. Same difference. And I actually would not want to see much below 115. 115, that shows me that there's strength, but below 115, that's showing weakness, and then you're coming close to this liquidity, so you may as well take that liquidity and continue pushing down for more liquidity. So we'll see if that comes down or if it wants to continue up. So far, but for now, my invalidation is a daily candle, maybe even 4-hour candle close below $115,000. But let's look at a potential bearish scenario that I had proposed back in May when we were trading around this area. There is an Elliott wave structure that says there's an area to be cautious. And with this pattern, with this leg right here, the target should be 121. So remember the 121 area. And let's go to the Elliott wave. We'll go into linear scale and check out some Elliott wave. So in linear scale here, there is a potential for an Elliott wave pattern to say you have an expanded or a running flat of some sort. And you're going to repeat that leg from here to down. And inside of this ABC, the B wave would consist of its own little ABC. Very extended C leg, looks very impulsive, but that's the way a C leg is supposed to look. And you would count out the Elliott waves, some kind of 1, 2, all of that's 3. Here's your wave 4 coming down pretty shallow and now pushing up for a 5th wave. So a very plausible scenario here is an expanded flat that would come and break the lows, or a running flat that would just come back down and grab all that liquidity, come back down to 88, which 88K, hey, that fits with the crazy eights, so let's put it in this video as well. 88K is a potential target for that structure. And the measurements of that, let's get a trend-based fib extension where I would measure from the bottom, measuring waves 1 through 3, and projecting from wave 4 to get you a 618 target, which is 121,300, hitting the 618. So this doesn't look like a completed quote-unquote 5-wave move. I definitely like to match it with what came previous, but it's going to hit an area of interest for anybody that wants to short a potential 5th wave. That would be the target, 121. So I'd expect some supply to come in there regardless. So let's mark that off. 618 target, 121. Want to get it kind of precise, so we'll say 121,400 as a potential for an Elliott wave structure to say we're going to top out there and push down. So expect some pushback from there. You're going to break the 120 liquidity. Just makes sense to stop people out that are trying to short below that, and you'll push above, and then from there you'll take that liquidity and force it down. Now, switching back to the logarithmic scale, we will measure the matching leg that I had from over here. This is May 5th to previous all-time high at 112, projecting from the low made at 98,000. We've already hit the 1-to-1 extension of that. And the 1272 is all the way up at 123. I think that was my original target, was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 123,456, just to remember it by. So if we project that final leg, this current push that we're up, if we're matching this leg, let's measure from that low, or no, we'll just measure from that low. We'll only measure this final leg here. And then we'll project from the start of this impulse leg. So I'm only measuring this leg right here. Let's make that a little wider. Measuring that leg and matching with this leg. That gets you a target of 121,505. So that would be an area of interest before getting this potential consolidation here. And if it really rejects there and comes too deep, then I don't like it. I'm not bullish anymore. And if you want to try to trade that idea and you want to buy a pullback, I would measure this leg right there and project it from this high and how far down it comes. So let's do that now. Take a trend-based fib extension in log scale, measure Measuring that, projecting from a potential 121 target, get you the 1-to-1 fib extension at 115,500. So that would be an area that I would look to buy. And stop loss would be 112,000. So I don't even want to see it come and touch the previous all-time high. So that would be my invalidation of this idea, this trade setup. So I would look for a small uptrend to start from 115, which may also be a 50% retrace of this last move up. So it kind of has confluence there for an area of interest. If you measure from July 8th to a potential 121 target, yeah, your 50% retrace is around 114 here in log scale. Linear scale should get around the, yeah, that's a little higher at 114,400. So maybe this pops up a little higher and gets you to the 115 being a 50% retrace. So I'm looking at the 115 for a buy setup. And that should come over the weekend if this pattern completes and pushes up to target. And then the pullback could come maybe Sunday or Monday. You have a nice pullback and then continuation next week. Or this trade setup invalidates and it's going lower. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I'm watching for the 8s to repeat and watching for consolidation around the 8s. So this would be a 118 consolidation, deviation of like 3,000 to the high, deviation of $3,000 back below it and back up to the 118 and then break out again. And then we should push up to 128, 126, and then maybe 131, and then come back to the 128. Just play around the crazy 8s. And if you want to believe there's a top in right there during an uptrend, you have to wait for some kind of downtrend to start on some time frame. So if you see the 121 getting hit and you start to see like a 1 hour downtrend, you could open up a short, put your stop loss at the high and see if it goes. But I'm currently looking for the buy setup at 115, and we'll see if we keep getting higher highs and higher lows. So those are my thoughts. You guys can have a good night if you keep those stops tight.